man just pulled off the cross. He sprouted a pair of white wings, but as he flew uncontrollably into the sky, he was supposed to be an angel of justice. Instead, he burst into flames. When the wings disappeared, a demon with horns of vengeance, covered in lava, a demon appeared before the eyes of the people. The reason why he was willing to sell his soul to become an ugly demon, it was because of a tragedy 3 days ago. Jack and his girlfriend, Anna, were a loving couple, but when Jack was ready to propose to his girlfriend, Anna suddenly broke up with him. The reason was that she was in love with someone else. Knowing that he was betrayed by his girlfriend, Jack was furious. In a heated argument, they parted ways, but who would have thought this breakup would separate them from each other forever? The next morning, Fobler found Jack. He found out about Anna's murder. Because of their heated argument, Jack was the first to be suspected. Although there was no evidence, Jack's life was disrupted. Not only was he surrounded by the media every day, even his own parents suspected that he was the murderer. Jack had no choice but to drink himself into oblivion. At night, he watched the villagers mourn Anna. Listening to his father-in-law's tearful speech, Jack's pain was even worse. After everyone had left, he went alone to the place where Anna had been victimized. He looked at the statue of the Virgin Mary. He couldn't contain his anger any longer. He stomped on the statue like a madman, but that wasn't enough. He pissed on it. At that moment, he didn't realize that an evil, horrible force had been awakened by his ignorance, and the next day, bad luck struck him because a pair of weird horns suddenly grew. Though he was so scared that he almost went to Hades, but the others didn't think so. What's even stranger? Everyone who saw the horns acted strangely. This woman would overeat and drink without a care in the world, with no regard for her ladylike demeanor. Jack arrives at the hospital. When confronted with the girl's noise, her mother even said she'd kill her daughter. It turns out that in front of Jack, they all show their darkness in unison, and physical contact is a direct way to sense each other's memories. But that's not Jack's concern. Right now, all he wants is for the doctor to saw off his horns. As the anesthesia took effect, Jack dreamed of the first time he saw his girlfriend. The first time he met his girlfriend. At church, the lovely Anna caught Jack's eye with a crucifix. By the time the service was over, Jack didn't see Anna. Instead, he found her crucifix. But what Jack didn't expect, Jack never expected that his best friend, Bob, would fall in love with Anna. Just as he was fixing the cross to give it to Anna, Jack got upset. He had to trade a fruit bomb for the necklace that Anna threw away. Then he thoughtfully put it on for Anna, and their hearts came together. And while they were in a state of bliss, but Bob's side of the family was in trouble because the fruit bomb exploded. They lost 2 fingers on the spot, though they grew up to be best buddies. But the accident planted the seeds of evil in Bob's heart. The man woke up with a start. He found a knife stuck in his horn. Terrified, he was about to remove the knife, and then something terrible happened. His whole body was wrapped in flames, and in the next moment, he was transformed into a terrifying demon. When Jack came back to reality, he had an additional magical supernatural ability. That is, once he comes into contact with someone, the other person's inner darkness will be revealed. Even a priest. It turns out that Jack's girlfriend, Anna, was brutally murdered 3 days ago. The murderer is still at large, now that he has demonic powers, so the first order of business was to check out all the suspects. He went to a bar. Although everyone here told their secrets, there was no information about Anna. Obviously, he couldn't find any answers here. When he got back to his car, he found the proposal ring. That's when he remembered the restaurant where he proposed, because the waitress lied to the police. And that's exactly what happened. When he arrived at the restaurant, the waitress confessed on the spot. She lied because she wanted to be an internet celebrity. Although she is not the murderer, but she did provide a key clue that Jack's brother Peter was there. But as soon as Jack reached out to him for confirmation, Peter told the truth under the power of the devil's horn. It turns out that after Jack broke up with his girlfriend that night, Peter took Anna in his car, but he hadn't been driving for long. Peter started to make a move on Anna. Anna saw his ugly face and tried to force her out of the car, so Peter had to watch Anna go into the woods alone. Although he behaved like an animal, but there was still a shred of humanity in him, because he waited for Anna to come back. And then the next day, not only did Anna not show up, his hands were covered in blood. Peter's mind was blown. He rushed out of the car to look for Anna's whereabouts, but what he found was Anna's cold body. He thought he had killed someone while drunk. In order not to be suspected, he destroyed all the evidence on him. Knowing the truth, Jack was furious, and at that moment, Fowler arrived at the scene. But there was no proof of what Jack had said. Not only was Peter not arrested, Jack went to jail. The next day, Bob, his lawyer, bailed him out. Jack told Bob about Peter's crimes, but he didn't listen to a word of it. Instead, he kept asking why Peter had confessed. Jack told him it was the devil's horns. Bob didn't see anything. While they were arguing, Jack suddenly noticed the cross around Bob's neck. And then it dawned on him, Anna was in love with Bob. The cruelty of the truth broke Jack's heart. He went to an abandoned factory. He tried desperately to remove the devil's foot, but even after bending the rebar, the horns remained intact. Jack Saturday on the floor, helpless. Unbeknownst to him, another hidden skill was awakening. He saw a bunch of vipers coming at him. Jack grabbed a trident, but the vipers did not attack. Instead, they climbed onto his body and intertwined themselves with their master. Jack then realized that he had the power to control the viper. This sudden ability gave him a bold idea. In order to take revenge, the first person he wanted to kill was the waitress who spread the rumor. Under Jack's control, the poisonous snake. Under Jack's control, the viper bit the waitress' face. Then he went to his own brother, who had offended his girlfriend. He gave him a horrible hallucination, and then he plunged him into an endless prison of misery. After all that, he finally found Bob, the man who made him a cuckold. They were brothers for life. They didn't realize that Bob had taken his wife, just as Jack was reaching for his trident and was about to send him to his death. Under the influence of the devil's foot, Bob revealed a shocking secret. After Jack's failed marriage proposal, Bob secretly followed Anna. He followed her all the way to the woods. Anna didn't think much of Bob's comfort, but when she saw that no one was around, he was so horny, he tried to take her by force. Anna would rather die than comply. She died on the spot. Bob took it away, and he still blamed Peter for his evil deeds. Jack was distracted by the truth. Bob took the opportunity to knock him to the ground. He was so sad that he lost all his will to fight. He was beaten to a standstill. In order to cover up the crime, Bob was so sick that he tried to burn Jack, and so he was set on fire by his best buddy. Although he tried to escape, he was kicked back. He had no choice but to start his car and dive into the river. He thought he'd end up in the Northeast, but he survived thanks to his strong aura of being the protagonist. He dragged his burnt body to find his old husband. He didn't expect the other side to change his hatred. He not only handed over the key left by Anna and let Jack wear a cross. As a result, Jack was miraculously transformed back to his original form. Apparently, his father-in-law knew the truth about his daughter's murder. With the necklace on, Jack seemed to be guided. He went to the cottage he and Anna had built. He finally found the secret he left behind. It turns out that Anna has a family history of cancer. That's why she didn't accept Jack's proposal. Jack was devastated by the truth, and it made him even more determined to get revenge. Soon after, he invited Bob to the place where his girlfriend was killed. Looking at Anna's photo, Bob didn't show any remorse. Instead, he pointed a gun at Jack. Obviously, he was hopeless. Jack didn't say anything to him and tore off the crucifix without saying a word. In the next second, hellish flames covered his entire body. In Bob's horrified eyes, a Hell King appeared in front of his eyes. He went up and sprayed it, but the bullets had no effect on the Demon King. He was so scared that he kneeled down and begged for mercy. But just when Jack hesitated, Bob picked up his trident and stabbed it, but he underestimated the king's strength. The demon's foot pierced his chest. Finally, Bob got what he deserved. Jack's life was consumed by his transformation into a demon. For him, it was perhaps the best possible ending, because he and Anna could finally be together and live happily ever after. As an adaptation of a dark horror novel, the nature of the movie manifests a kind of excavation of the dark psychology of human nature. The director borrows the strange ghosts and monsters to hit the deepest secrets of human nature. The movie uses a kind of black humor to interpret the author's story. The slightly satirical and exaggerated layout of the movie doesn't really touch people's hearts, but that kind of creativity and wild imagination still gives people a lot of unexpected surprises. Watching this movie makes it hard to get into the mood it's trying to convey. It doesn't do a good job of bringing people into the story, and it still feels more like the story is set up in a somewhat impenetrable way. This makes it difficult to get into and enjoy the draw.